The galaxy believed humanity was finished. Our worlds were burning, our fleets shattered, our colonies silent. Across the stars, the Council broadcasted their declaration: the human race has ended. But they did not see what remained. On Earth, the once bright cities were nothing but shadows of their former glory. Craters scarred the land. Oceans boiled where orbital strikes had hit. Survivors lived beneath the ruins, hidden in bunkers carved deep into the rock. The Council thought they had crushed us. They thought they had erased our spirit. But they were wrong. I was there the night the last transmission from the Terran Defense Network went silent. Commanders argued, scientists wept, soldiers slammed their fists against metal walls. Some begged for surrender. But surrender was never in our blood. Humanity had been cornered many times in history, by plagues, by empires, by our own divisions, and still we endured. This would be no different. In the ruins of Geneva, a council of survivors gathered. Not politicians, not admirals, but ordinary people, an engineer from the orbital yards, a medic from the refugee camps, a pilot whose ship had been the last to fall. We had no fleets left, no armies to command. What we had was resolve. The engineer spoke first. His name was Vera, a man whose hands shook from exhaustion, but whose eyes still carried fire. "They think we're finished," he said. "But the final chapter is ours to write. If the galaxy believes we are gone, then let them believe it. We will rise from silence." There was no cheering, no applause. Just quiet nods, and the weight of a decision none of us could turn back from. We had one advantage left. The enemy believed their victory complete. They had moved on, spreading their fleets to other frontiers, tightening their grip on lesser worlds. They had left Earth as a corpse, unguarded, unmonitored, a relic of a dead race. But in that miscalculation lay our chance. We would not fight them as before, in open battle. That time had passed. This war would be written in shadows. Guerrilla strikes, whispered sabotage, fleets that appeared out of nowhere and vanished like ghosts. The galaxy thought they had ended us. But we would become their nightmare. That night, beneath the shattered halls of what was once the United Earth Assembly, we made our vow. Humanity was not finished. Humanity was sharpening its blade. The silence after defeat was not the end. It was the breath before the storm. And I, Commander Elias Kale, survivor of the last fleet, swore that the galaxy would remember our name. Earth had become a graveyard, but within the ashes, survivors built a different kind of strength. Underground tunnels stretched beneath ruined cities. Caverns once used for mining now held families, engineers, and hidden workshops. The enemy had left us with nothing but fire-scorched stone, but humans had always known how to carve life from impossible places. I walked those tunnels often, carrying messages between outposts. Each time I passed through, I saw the faces of those who still believed. Children learning history by candlelight. Old scientists scribbling equations on walls, using ash as chalk. Farmers coaxing crops to grow under dim artificial lamps. Every sight reminded me that humanity's greatest weapon was never steel or plasma, it was the refusal to let go. The medic, Arya, worked tirelessly among the sick. Supplies were scarce. Sometimes, we had to grind old medical kits into powder and reconstitute them into something useful. And yet, people lived. People healed. Hope was a strange medicine. It kept the body standing when all else should have failed. Vera, the engineer, became the heart of our survival. He salvaged wrecks that fell from orbit, tearing apart scorched hulls and reshaping them into tools. One day, he revealed a secret to me. Deep within the mountains of what had once been Siberia, he had found something buried, a vault. It had been built in secret before the war, hidden from even Earth's governments. Inside, there were prototypes. Engines unlike any the galaxy had seen. Weapons still in concept stages, never tested. Humanity's last gamble. We knew then that our story wasn't over. The galaxy thought Earth was dead. But in the ashes, the seeds of vengeance had already begun to grow. The galaxy remembered the burning of our fleets, but they had forgotten what we built in the shadows. Humanity had always hidden things, preparing for the day when everything would be taken. The vault was proof of that. But it wasn't the only one. Arya brought word of whispers from the colonies. Not all had fallen. Some had gone dark before the war's end, cutting transmissions, severing ties. The Council assumed they were destroyed. But to us, they were questions waiting to be answered. I led a small crew on a scavenged transport to investigate. The ship was a patchwork of steel, held together by Vera's stubborn genius. Its engines coughed each time they were pushed, but it flew. We charted a course to Titan, Saturn's old colony. The journey was long, quiet, dangerous. Council patrols roamed the system, scanning for signs of resistance. We moved like ghosts, slipping through the blind spots, hiding among the rings of Saturn when patrols came near. When we reached Titan, we found ruins above the surface. Burned domes, shattered towers, empty silence. But below, beneath layers of frozen ground, there was life. Thousands had survived, building in silence, waiting for a signal. They called themselves the Forgotten Fleet. Their leaders were not admirals, but workers, miners, technicians. Yet in their hidden hangars, they had preserved ships, old war frigates, patched and barely functional, but still ships. When I walked into that hangar, seeing the rusted hulls glimmering under makeshift lights, I knew. Humanity was not finished. We were gathering strength. The galaxy had declared us gone, but they had forgotten the truth. You cannot erase a species that refuses to bow. Our plan was no longer survival. It was retaliation. But retaliation required more than ships. It required fear. The Council ruled through terror. They crushed every species that resisted, broadcasting executions, burning colonies as warnings. Now, we would turn their own weapon against them. The Forgotten Fleet joined Earth's survivors. In hidden forges, we reforged weapons from scrap. In the caverns, we built training grounds. Men and women who had once been farmers, miners, teachers, they became soldiers again. Not polished, not perfect, but fierce. Our first strike came in silence. A Council supply convoy, lightly guarded, drifting near the asteroid belt. We hit them fast, scavenged frigates bursting from the rocks like wolves from the shadows. The convoy barely had time to send a distress signal. Within minutes, their ships burned, their supplies ours. The galaxy barely noticed. To them, it was pirates, a random act. But to us, it was the beginning. Each strike grew bolder. Outposts sabotaged. Patrols ambushed. Rumors began to spread. Humanity still lived. Humanity fought back. The Council tried to smother the whispers, but whispers have a way of spreading. And in every alien tavern, in every market of the fringe worlds, a quiet terror grew. Humanity had been declared finished. Yet shadows moved in the dark. We became sparks in the night. And sparks, if left to grow, could set the whole galaxy ablaze. The enemy began to notice. Their patrols grew heavier. Their fleets tightened formation. They thought to crush us again, as they had before. But this time, the storm was ours to command. From Titan, we expanded. Mars, Europa, even shattered colonies on Proxima, all held survivors. Some weak, some broken, but all burning with the same fire. Everywhere we looked, we found pieces of humanity still standing. And every piece we gathered made us stronger. Vera's vault revealed wonders. A new engine design that could outpace any Council ship. Weapons that bent plasma into forms they had never seen. They were crude, dangerous, unfinished. But in our hands, they became salvation. I watched as our fleets grew. Dozens of ships became hundreds. Wrecks were reforged, old freighters converted into warships. Not beautiful, not mighty, but enough to fight. And then came the message. A desperate call from beyond the spiral arm. Another colony thought lost, sending out a single signal across the stars: humanity endures. That was when I knew. The galaxy had made a mistake in declaring us finished. They had left us broken, but not destroyed. And from the broken pieces, something greater was rising. The storm was coming. And this time, it would not pass. At first, the galaxy mocked the rumors. Council broadcasters filled the networks with laughter. Humanity is finished, they repeated. These whispers are lies, pirate tricks, the fantasies of desperate refugees. They laughed at the thought that survivors in broken ships could challenge the might of the galaxy. But laughter has a way of hiding fear. We saw it in their actions. Convoys doubled their escorts. Outposts built new walls. Fleets were recalled from distant campaigns, pulling back toward the core. The Council still declared victory, but their movements betrayed them. Among our people, the laughter only hardened resolve. When they mocked us, they reminded us that we were underestimated. That had always been our strength. Arya tended to the wounded after each strike. Her hands never stopped moving, her eyes never lost their fire. Let them laugh, she told me once as she wrapped a soldier's wounds. They laughed when we first reached the stars. They laughed when we fought wars beyond our weight. They will laugh until the day they fall silent. In those words, I saw the truth. Humanity did not need recognition. We did not need respect. All we needed was the chance to strike, and the patience to wait for the right moment. So we let them laugh. Because while they laughed, we built the storm that would sweep their laughter away forever. Our tactics grew sharper. We never fought where they expected. A fleet that appeared near the rim vanished into wormholes. Raiders struck on one side of the galaxy, only for another group to hit thousands of light years away days later. We learned to use their arrogance against them. Council fleets were massive, powerful, but slow. They moved like empires always moved, with weight, with ceremony, with the belief they could crush anything in their path. We moved like shadows, darting in and out of the dark. Vera's prototypes changed everything. With the new engines, even our broken ships could dance circles around their war machines. And with plasma warping cannons, we tore holes through armor once thought invincible. Every strike left fear behind. Alien traders whispered of ghost fleets. Soldiers spoke of the dead race that would not die. The name humanity became a curse on their lips. Yet with each victory, I felt the weight grow heavier. We were no longer fighting for survival alone. We were fighting to prove a point, to show the galaxy what happened when they tried to erase us. That kind of war was not only fought with weapons, it was fought with soul. And I feared what it would cost. The time came when whispers were not enough. The galaxy had to see us with their own eyes. We planned it for months. A council outpost, deep in the core worlds, far from the edges where we usually struck. It was a hub of communication, broadcasting propaganda across half the galaxy. If we could take it, even for a moment, we could send a message that no one could ignore. Our fleets gathered in silence. Hundreds of ships, cobbled together, engines rattling, but hearts burning. For many, it was the first time they had seen such numbers in one place since the fall of Earth. When the attack began, the outpost never stood a chance. Our ships appeared from the void, engines screaming, weapons blazing. Defenses fell in minutes. The council's garrison barely fought before being overwhelmed. Inside the outpost, we found the broadcast chambers. And from there, we spoke to the galaxy. My face, scarred and weathered, appeared on every screen. Humanity was declared finished, I said. But we write our own ending. We endured. We fought. And we are still here. Remember this, the final chapter belongs to us. The broadcast lasted only minutes before they cut us off. But it was enough. Enough to spread terror through the core, enough to ignite hope in the shadows. The galaxy could no longer deny our existence. We were not whispers. We were fire. Victory always comes with cost. That raid was no different. The council struck back fast. Their fleets arrived within hours, faster than we expected. We escaped, but not without losses. Entire ships burned in the void, their crews choosing to hold the line so others could escape. Aria's med bays overflowed with wounded. I walked through the silence of our hangars after. Empty spaces where ships had once stood. Names that would never be spoken again. Survivors stared at the ground, their fire dimmed. It was then I realized the truth. This war was not about single victories. It was not about ships or outposts. It was about endurance. The council had declared us finished, and in every loss, they looked for proof they were right. Our task was simple: deny them that proof. Even in grief, we rebuilt. For every ship lost, 2 rose from the forges. For every soldier buried, 10 more stepped forward. Humanity had always carried its pain, but we had also always transformed it into strength. The galaxy saw the price of our defiance. And still, we stood. The storm was not finished. It had only just begun. The council's fear of us began to spread. Other species had suffered under their rule for centuries. They had bowed, obeyed, endured. But now they saw something they had never seen before, an erased race rising from its grave. Whispers turned into questions. If humanity could defy the council, why couldn't others? If the weakest had been crushed and still stood, what excuse did the strong have? In the markets of the fringe worlds, aliens began to trade with us in secret. Ore, food, parts, things we needed to rebuild. Some offered safe havens in asteroid belts or gas giants. Others went further, sending their young to fight alongside us. I remember the first time I saw them. A squad of Tolari warriors stepping off a smuggler's freighter, weapons in hand, eyes burning with the same fire I had seen in human soldiers. "Your fight is our fight," their leader said simply. It was strange, to see allies where once there had only been enemies. Strange and dangerous. For the more that joined us, the more the Council feared. And fear drove them to desperation. But for us, it meant something more. Humanity was no longer fighting alone. The seeds of rebellion had been planted. And across the stars, they began to grow. Not all who came to us brought hope. Some came with lies. The Council was clever. They knew they could not crush us with fleets alone. So they sent spies, traitors, whispers wrapped in promises. One of them nearly ended everything. His name was Rylus, a merchant who offered us fuel cells and navigation charts. He smiled, spoke of hatred for the Council, swore loyalty to our cause. For weeks, he traveled among our people, gaining trust. Until the night his true purpose was revealed. He sabotaged one of our forges, planting charges that would have destroyed half our fleet. Only Arya's vigilance saved us, spotting the warning signs in time. Rylus was captured before he could escape. When the truth came out, there was anger, grief, rage. Some wanted to execute him immediately. Others wanted to send him back to the Council as a message. I chose neither. We kept him alive, locked in silence. Because his betrayal taught us a lesson far more important than revenge. We could not trust lightly. We could not assume allies were true. We had to be sharper, colder, harder. The Council thought betrayal would weaken us. But it only sharpened our resolve. If anything, it reminded us of who we were fighting. And it reminded me that the war we fought was not only with ships and weapons, but with shadows and lies. Despite the betrayal, we pressed on. The rebellion grew, sparks igniting into flames. But we still lacked what the Council had in endless supply, a true armada. That changed the day we found the graveyard. It was a system on the edge of the spiral arm, a place the Council had abandoned after one of their ancient wars. Dozens of ships lay adrift, hulks of metal drifting in silence. To them, it was nothing but wreckage. To us, it was gold. Vera's eyes lit up the moment he saw them. "We can fix this," he whispered. And so we did. 4 months, our engineers worked day and night, turning rusted skeletons into fire-breathing beasts. Engines rebuilt. Weapons reforged. Hulls patched with whatever we could find. It was not just ships we rebuilt. It was pride. It was the dream of seeing a fleet that could stand against the Council's might. And when at last we lit their engines, when 100 ships rose from the graveyard with fire in their hearts, I knew the galaxy would tremble. We called it the Hidden Armada. And it was ours. The first true battle came not in silence, but in fire. The Council sent a fleet to Orion, a system rich with resources, one of the few still standing on its own. They came to make an example, to burn the system as they had burned Earth. But we were waiting. The Hidden Armada emerged from the dark, engines screaming, weapons burning. Council warships met us head-on, confident as always in their superiority. But they had not faced ships like these. They had not faced humans who fought with nothing left to lose. The battle raged for hours. Plasma storms lit the void. Hulls cracked, engines shattered, crews screamed through the comms. For every ship we lost, 2 of theirs fell. For every soldier who died, 10 more stepped forward. When it ended, Orion still stood. The Council fleet was gone, scattered wrecks drifting among the stars. And for the first time since the war began, humanity had not just survived the battle, we had won one. The galaxy felt the shock. The whispers turned to shouts. Humanity lived. Humanity fought. Humanity had written a new line in the story the Council had tried to erase. And this time, it was the Council who trembled. The battle over Orion changed everything. For the first time in centuries, the Council looked weak. The galaxy had seen their fleets burn. They had seen humanity rise from the ashes they thought were final. And the cracks in their empire began to spread. Rebellion sparked on distant worlds. Small at first, workers refusing orders, colonies cutting ties. But soon, whole systems declared independence. They raised banners, not of humanity, but of freedom. Humanity had become the spark, and now the galaxy itself burned. The Council responded with fury. They unleashed their strongest fleets, their most terrible weapons. They thought overwhelming force would restore order. But force only fueled the fire. Every world they crushed became a rallying cry. Every atrocity they committed turned allies into enemies. In secret chambers, Council leaders argued. Some demanded humanity's total annihilation. Others whispered of peace, of negotiation. Their unity fractured. The empire that once ruled the stars was breaking, not from without, but from within. I watched it all unfold from the bridge of my ship. The hidden armada now numbered thousands. Our allies had grown into a coalition: Tolari warriors, Rith engineers, species long bent under council chains. Together, we stood as something greater than resistance. We were becoming a revolution. But revolutions are not won with whispers. They are won with final blows. Vera showed me the last gift of the vault. A weapon unfinished, hidden even from us until now. A device that could bend space itself, tearing fleets apart, breaking even the council's strongest defenses. Dangerous. Untested. Possibly as deadly to us as to them. I looked at it, then at the stars beyond. I knew the truth. Humanity's survival had never been about safety. It had always been about risk, about stepping into the unknown when all reason said to stop. The council had declared us finished. If the final chapter was to be written, it would be written with this. And so, we set our course. Straight to the council's core. Straight to the heart of the empire that thought it had erased us. The storm was no longer gathering. It was here. And humanity would be its thunder. The council core burned with lights. Fleets stretched across the system, a wall of steel and fire, every warship they still commanded drawn to protect the capital. To them, we were an infestation to be purged once and for all. To us, it was the last page of the story. The hidden armada surged forward. Thousands of ships, patched, scarred, imperfect, but alive. The coalition roared with us, a chorus of voices long silenced. The battle was chaos. Weapons tore the void apart. Ships exploded in fireballs brighter than suns. Hulls cracked, engines burst, and still we pressed on. The council fought with everything they had. But we fought with everything we were. In the heart of the storm, Vera activated the weapon. The device pulsed, a tear ripping across space. Council ships were dragged into the rift, crushed, broken, erased. Even our ships shuddered, some consumed by the very power we unleashed. But still, we pushed. Our fleet reached the capital world. And there, for the first time in history, the council itself fell silent. Their leaders fled, their unity gone. Their empire, built on centuries of fear, crumbled in days. When the smoke cleared, I stood on the bridge, staring at the ruins of their great fleets. The galaxy was quiet, waiting, listening. And I knew it was time. We did not declare conquest. We did not declare dominion. We declared survival. We declared freedom. Humanity had been erased, mocked, buried. But we had risen, and in rising, we had taught the galaxy a truth it would never forget. The council had declared humanity finished. But we wrote the final chapter. And in that chapter, the galaxy learned what it truly meant to face the unbroken will of mankind.